sometimes horses act completely different in different situations. For example, you may have a horse that jumps around great at home, never even looks at anything. You have perfect courses at home, but then you go to the horse show and all of a sudden he's refusing even the most simple fence. So I'm Callie from CRK Training Blog, and the last few weeks we've been talking about this big picture of riding and of horsemanship and how there really is so much that goes into being a great rider and being a great horse person and experiencing those really good rides, those really good moments of connection and where everything just seems to come together. What I want to do today is address a question specifically about how environment affects our horse's behavior. So when we're looking at this big picture, one of those categories was understanding and relating to the horse. And we have to understand behavior, both the horse's innate or instinctual behaviors, but also what influences the things that they do. And there's three main sections to this. There's the horse's genetics, there's environment, and then there's past learning or experiences. And today we're going to focus in on this one, on how environment can really affect our horse's behavior. So I already mentioned one example of the horse that maybe jumps around great when you're just at home, but when you go to the horse show, all of a sudden he's refusing and it just doesn't go well. You can also think about the classic example of the dog. Maybe you have a dog at home, and when you're in the house or just outside in your yard, he comes every time that you call. But if you go to the dog park, forget it. You call and he's just running the other direction. Or maybe you've taught your horse a trick in the barn, something like following a target, or you taught him a little bow or a smile, some kind of a cute trick, but then you bring him into the arena to show your friends and he acts like he has no idea what you're asking for. All these have to do with environment and how it can change our horse's behavior. There's three main ways that the environment can affect our horse's behavior. So the first is that horses will often connect their behaviors to a specific location. One of the ways that I actually take advantage of this as a trainer is when I'm working with young horses and teaching them to pick up the canter for the first time, I'll often use a specific location of my arena. So the first few times that I ask them for the canter, I'll ask for it in the same spot. And having the location stay consistent actually helps the horse learn what the canter cue is a lot quicker than if I was to just ask for it randomly in different areas of the arena. So again, horses will often connect a specific location to the behavior. The second thing that can happen is horses will recognize other cues in one environment and connect those other cues that you probably aren't intending to actually use as your cue, but the horse is connecting them to that behavior. This can often happen if we say teach something in the barn, but then we find that it doesn't transfer to the arena. So for example, if you were teaching your horse to target and you taught him to target standing outside of his stall, but then you tried to come down to the arena, you might find that it wasn't just the cue of lifting or holding out the target that the horse was connecting, but it was that whole environment of there's a person in front of my stall holding a stick, holding a target. That's the cue, and when I'm in a different place, they might not make that connection. And the third one, and probably the most common one that explains how environment affects behavior, is simply distraction level. Now, when we think about distraction, there's three main kind of parts of distraction. So the first one is distance. The second is duration. And the third is intensity. So when we think about the distraction of, say, a barking dog, if the dog is further away, that's going to be less distracting than a dog that is a few feet away. If the dog barks once, that's going to be less distracting than a dog that barks for 5 minutes. And also intensity. So if we have one yipping Chihuahua, that's going to be a lot less intense than 10 growling German Shepherds. So whenever we're changing environments, we want to think about these 3 factors of distraction. And when we teach the horse something new, we usually try to do that in the lowest distraction environment possible. That's where the horse is going to learn the most easily, with the least amount of stress, and with the least amount of repetitions to have that learning. And then we start taking that new behavior into increasingly difficult or increasingly more distracting environments. And we can think about, again, those distractions using these 3 kind of elements of distraction. Let's think about this with a real world example again, and we'll go back to the one we started with, the horse that is refusing at the horse show. So most likely in that case, it's probably just that there's too many distractions. There's too much going on at the horse show. So the first thing to do is try to lower the distraction level. Try to find just the quietest area, the quietest little corner that you can find in that environment to go back, let your horse calm down, maybe go over a low jump there a few times, and then you can start to slowly increase either how close you are to the busy warm-up area, maybe going in at a quieter time when there's not quite as many horses in the warm-up arena, or simply lowering the difficulty of what you're asking for. So if you are going to be, you normally jump a toe, maybe 3 foot, and you were trying to get your horse to school over a 3-foot fence, put it down to just a little cross rail, because that's going to be a lot easier. Do that a few times, and then start working up and increasing the level of the difficulty of your request. So again, environment plays a big factor in behavior. And when we can understand that, not only can we be more patient with our horse, but we can also set up our training to be a lot more effective and help to work through the different challenges that changing environments can sometimes face. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a lot more riding and training videos at crktrainingblog.com. Go there to enter any comments or questions. That's always where the best conversation happens. And make sure to subscribe for email updates so that you can never miss another one of these videos. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you at CRK Training Blog.